Have you ever considered the idea of creating an accessible garden? As we step into the verdant world of accessible gardening, let's take a moment to explore what it truly means. Accessible gardening is the transformative practice of adapting the physical layout and horticultural techniques of a garden, making it inclusive for all, regardless of their physical abilities or age. It's about opening up the therapeutic, calming, and joyous world of gardening to everyone. Why should you consider creating an accessible garden? Well, for starters, it fosters inclusivity and brings people together. It's not just about making gardening possible for everyone, but also about creating a shared space where everyone can contribute, learn, and grow together. The benefits of accessible gardening are manifold. It promotes physical health, mental well-being, and social interaction. Moreover, it adds an element of universal design to your backyard, making it not just beautiful but also functional and user-friendly. Let's delve into the step-by-step process of creating an accessible garden. The first step in creating an accessible garden is understanding your needs. It's not just about planting your favorite flowers or picking the comfiest garden chair, it's about making sure the garden works for you. Let's say mobility is an issue. You might consider raised beds for easier access or even a vertical wall garden. Or perhaps you're a wheelchair user. Then paths should be wide and smooth, with turning spaces at regular intervals. For those with visual impairments, plants with varied textures and scents can create an engaging sensory experience. You might also want to think about sound, like the rustle of bamboo or the splash of a water feature. Remember, every individual's needs are different, and the beauty of creating your own garden is that it can be tailored exactly to your requirements. With your needs clearly identified, it's time to move on to the planning stage. Now, with a clear understanding of your needs, it's time to plan your accessible garden. First, let's think about the size of your garden. This will largely be determined by the space you have available. You might have a sprawling backyard, a small patio, or even just a sunny window. No matter the size, you can create an accessible garden that fits your space. Next, consider the type of plants you want to grow. Are you a fan of colorful flowers, or do you prefer the practicality of fruits and vegetables? Maybe you'd like a mix of both. The beauty of gardening is that you get to decide. Just remember to choose plants that are suitable for your climate and sunlight exposure. Now let's talk about paths. They are crucial in an accessible garden. They'll allow you to move around your garden with ease, whether you're walking, using a wheelchair, or guiding a visually impaired friend. Paths should be wide, flat, and free of obstacles. And remember, they don't have to be straight. Curving paths can add a touch of charm to your garden. The next feature to consider is raised beds or vertical gardening. Raised beds bring the soil closer to you, reducing the need for bending or kneeling. They can be built to any height, making them perfect for wheelchair users or those with back issues. Vertical gardening, on the other hand, utilizes trellises, wall planters, or hanging baskets to lift your plants off the ground. This approach can be a real space saver, especially in smaller gardens. Lastly, think about other features that could enhance your garden's accessibility. Perhaps a bench for rest stops, a water feature for sensory stimulation, or even a bird feeder to attract wildlife. These additions can transform your garden into a truly inclusive and enjoyable space. Planning might seem overwhelming at first, but remember, your garden is a reflection of you. Take your time, consider your needs, and above all else, have fun with it. With a solid plan in place, we're ready to start the actual gardening work. Preparation is key when it comes to creating an accessible garden. This is where our vision begins to take form. The first step in preparing the garden area is to clear and level the ground. This might involve removing any existing plants or debris and smoothing out any bumps or dips. A level surface is essential for mobility, stability, and to ensure proper drainage. Once we have a clean slate, we can start to shape our garden. This is where paths come into play. Paths are crucial in an accessible garden, providing easy access to all areas. They should be wide enough to accommodate a wheelchair or walker if needed, and made from a non-slip material. Gravel, paving stones, or even a smooth lawn can serve as a path. The key is to ensure it's firm, flat, and offers a safe and comfortable route around the garden. Next, let's talk about raised beds or other structures. Raised beds bring the garden up to a comfortable height, reducing the need to bend or kneel. They can be built from a variety of materials, including wood, stone, or metal. The height of the beds can be tailored to individual needs. Generally, anywhere from 24 to 36 inches high is a good range. Other structures, such as trellises or vertical gardens, can also be incorporated to maximize space and accessibility. In addition to these physical adjustments, consider the sensory experience of the garden. Fragrant plants, tactile leaves, and the rustle of wind through the leaves can add an extra dimension to the garden experience. Remember, the goal is to create a garden that is not only accessible, but also enjoyable. Take your time in this preparation phase. Think about what will work best for you, and don't be afraid to get creative. A garden should be a reflection of its gardener, after all. Now that our garden is prepared, we can move on to the exciting part, planting. Planting is where your garden really starts to come to life. It's the moment of truth, the time when your careful planning and preparation gets put into action. But selecting the right plants is about more than just aesthetics. It's about creating a garden that's not only beautiful but accessible and easy to care for as well. It's crucial to consider the height and spread of your plants. Will they be easy to reach, both now and when they're fully grown? If not, raised beds or hanging baskets can be a great solution. They bring the plants closer to you, reducing the need for bending or kneeling. Next, think about the plant's care requirements. Some plants need more attention than others. If you want a low-maintenance garden, opt for plants that don't require frequent watering or pruning. Drought-tolerant plants, like succulents or certain varieties of perennials and shrubs, can be a good choice. Also, consider plants that are resistant to common pests and diseases. Don't forget about the sensory aspect of your garden. Plants with different textures, scents, and colors can create an engaging and therapeutic environment. Lavender, for instance, is not only easy to care for but also offers a calming scent. Rosemary is another great option, with its fragrant leaves and beautiful blue flowers. When you're ready to plant, start by digging a hole that's roughly twice as wide and the same depth as the plant's root ball. Place your plant in the hole, making sure the top of the root ball is level with the soil surface. Then, backfill the hole, firming the soil gently around the base of the plant. Remember, gardening should be a joy, not a chore. So choose plants that you love, plants that will make you excited to step outside and spend time in your garden. After all, this is your space, a place for you to relax, to connect with nature, and to enjoy the fruits of your labor. With your plants in place, your accessible garden is starting to take shape. Now let's move on to the next step, maintaining your garden to ensure it continues to thrive and bring you joy. Creating an accessible garden is just the first step. Maintaining it is equally important. Let's dive into some key aspects of garden maintenance that are essential for keeping your accessible garden thriving. Firstly, watering is crucial. Plants are like us. They need water to survive and thrive. But how much water and how frequently? Well, it varies. Some plants prefer their soil to be consistently moist, while others like to dry out a bit between watering. A general rule of thumb is to water deeply and less frequently, as this encourages the roots to grow deeper into the soil, making the plants more resilient. But remember, accessibility is key, so consider installing an automatic irrigation system or using self-watering planters to make this task easier. Next, let's talk about pruning. Pruning helps your plants maintain a healthy and attractive shape. It also encourages new growth and can help keep pests and diseases at bay. Invest in some ergonomic gardening tools that are easy to grip and use. And remember, never hesitate to ask for help if you need it. Now, on to pests. Yes, they can be a nuisance, but they're a part of the natural ecosystem. The key is to maintain a balance. Attract beneficial insects and birds to your garden who will naturally keep the pest population in check. You can do this by planting a variety of native plants. If you do need to use pesticides, opt for organic ones and always use them sparingly. Lastly, mulching is a great way to suppress weeds, retain moisture in the soil, and add nutrients back into the earth. Organic mulch, such as compost or shredded bark, is a fantastic choice. It gradually breaks down, improving the structure and fertility of your soil. Remember, every garden is unique, and so are its needs. Regular observation and a bit of trial and error will help you understand what works best for your garden. With these maintenance tips, you'll be able to enjoy your accessible garden for years to come. Let's quickly recap the steps we've covered in creating an accessible garden. First, we kicked things off by understanding your unique needs. This is the foundation of the process, ensuring that your garden will be tailored to your abilities and preferences. Then we moved on to planning your garden, a vital phase where you design the layout and decide on the plants to make your garden visually appealing and functional. In preparing the garden, we discussed the importance of preparing the soil and setting up the necessary infrastructure. We then transitioned to planting your garden, where we delved into the exciting world of selecting and planting a variety of plants that are not only beautiful, but also easy to care for. Finally, we covered maintaining your garden, stressing the importance of regular upkeep to ensure that your garden remains a source of joy and relaxation. Remember, the goal is to create a garden that you can not only access, but also enjoy. Happy gardening!